Okay, on the podcast this week is a young man who's recently signed permanently with Peterhead after two loan spells. He is a Peterhead loon. He is one of our own. Welcome along, Danny Strachan. Danny, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you very much. How has your summer been? I know it's maybe been about a uncertain one for you, but away from football, have you been enjoying the summer again?
Yeah, it's been good. We finished just towards probably the middle of May, and then obviously was in touch with Jim once I knew I wasn't getting anything at Dundee, and the intention was to offer me something. Obviously, I wanted to look at what I had on the table first, but came back in on the 7th with Peterhead. Been training since then, enjoying it, and decided to make the permanent move.
Was that a decision that you wanted to take a little bit of time over, or was it once you made the offer, was it a quick decision?
I think I've always wanted to play for Peterhead, and last year wasn't really ideal at all. But I'm hoping now that I'm an actual Peterhead player, things will be slightly different and be able to kick on and have a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. So, in terms of when you left Dundee, then did you see that as something that was coming? Did you feel it was on the cards?
I wasn't too sure really. Obviously, the change of manager mid-season didn't really help, but I wasn't too sure. Most of the other boys around about my age have still had another year on their contract. So in the back of my head, I was hoping that I'd done enough to, obviously just in training because I wasn't playing games at Peterhead at that point, do enough to extend by another year. But Mark McGee came in and they've obviously taken the decision to not extend the contract, which has led to me signing for Peterhead now.
Does a change of manager does that change how things go for you personally? You know, just straight away, did you get an impression that he doesn't have any interest in you?
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was pretty similar to the transition. I was still in amongst the first team every day, near enough, just until the last couple of weeks when I knew I was already on my way out. But I didn't really. I wanted to find out quite early on so I would know like the plan for next season and not just be left at the end of the season, no club rushing into anything. So didn't make too much of a difference, but it's obviously just opinions, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, as we all know, football is all about opinions. You know, you might be liked by one coach, and as you said, just a change of manager can change your whole career, can it?
Yeah.
And did you have any other offers? Did you want to stay full time at this kind of present moment in time?
I think at first I thought I would like to stay full time. Then I thought about it a bit more. I had a chat with Gordon Strachan as well at Dundee. He was saying that maybe it's going part time. If you're playing, you've got something else to focus on as well. It could maybe be a beneficial thing
Yeah,
rather than ending up at a bigger club, maybe not breaking in or whatever. So I kind of thought about it more and more, and then just seemed like this league, especially the part-time teams, seem to compete just as well as the full-time teams, as we've seen like likes of Falkirk and stuff like that recently.
Yeah, I think if you take the examples, say like Grant Savey, for example, he came in last season, dropped down for being fit at Celtic, and then you know how well he played. So it does show that maybe just taking that step back can help your career.
Yeah, definitely. I think Grant's a great example of that. And then there's obviously other boys that have done well. Sure, Scott Brown, obviously, he's been here a while now, but I think he could have made the step up a few years ago, really. I think he's had the opportunity to. And other boys like Hamish, flying, probably having offers, but happy to play football here.
I think there's so many good part time players, as you said, that the league is so tough, so tight that you know sometimes a part time player can be as good as what some of the full time players can be.
Yeah, definitely. I think we worked to be, especially last season, we worked to be just as fit as the full time teams. I think that came across, especially in a few of the games when I was first here as well. When I first came in, I wasn't sure what to expect fitness wise, but the boys are flying.
Yeah,
you need to be that if you want to compete with full time teams, I suppose.
When you initially came on loan first time, did you kind of have that bit of apprehension about going full time and then essentially playing with part time players? Did you know what to expect?
I'd always known the standard would be good, but I just wasn't sure. Like when it turned up at training, obviously completely new. if boys would be fit. Obviously, working through the day and then training at night, like what the standard would be. But that first couple of times I came in, we trained at Montrose the first night I came in. The tempo was really good. Si took it, and really good session. Done well, and then signed on loan off the back of
that. Of course, you were still training full time at Dundee anyway, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't just as though you were only a couple of days a week. But you're still, as yourself, you're still full time at the time.
Yeah, we were training. There was a lot of time we trained on the Tuesday morning, and then came to Peterhead at night as well. So it was a lot of training for us, but I enjoyed it. More football the better, especially when I wasn't getting games. Just trying to keep the confidence up, trying to keep playing as much as possible.
So it's a bit like you were almost doing the same as what the other guys were doing, really sort of working through the day, and then on a Tuesday night or Thursday night doing a bit more training. So you sort of knew what to kind of expect then.
Yeah.
Okay, let's we'll move on. We'll comment a bit more about Peterhead in a moment, but I want to get to know a bit more about yourself. As we know, you are from up here. You're one of the only Peterhead loan now playing for Peterhead, which I think many fans would be pretty pleased about. At least there is somebody there now. But tell us about your footballing journey then. What was your sort of earliest memories of either watching or playing? When did you start?
I just always remember going to Peterhead games. Me and my dad would have a season ticket nearly every year. Mum and sister would come along as well. But I wouldn't even be able to tell you what age it was I started coming. A long time I've been going to Balmoor now. And then I was just playing the school team to begin with. And the Hexagon football club up here, Walter takes that. And it was off the back of that he'd mentioned me to Aberdeen along with a few other boys. And then we went down, I think it was called the Advanced Centres back then. Jim Crawford, Aberdeen done that. And it was just a big pool of players, quite a lot. And then went from that, from the age of 7. And then when we got to 9, it got whittled down into a trial for the under-10s age group, the first age group of this teams. And I was in on trial with that for a couple of weeks and then signed for there and was there till I was 17.
I think obviously that's the advantage of Aberdeen having such a prominent name, and the full time club. They can have such a big network. Do you think maybe that's something that maybe Peterhead's maybe missing slightly, having that sort of youth line of players, if you like?
Yeah, I think so. I think usually you have boys from Peterhead, but they're just being the boys' club, and there's no real, not proper connection between the club and the boys' club. So I think you probably miss out on a lot of local boys, good talent. There would be a few going to Aberdeen, like around about the same time as me. There was a decent amount of us travelling through. But even that it's a long way. It's a big commitment for parents as well. So the boys from Peterhead maybe wouldn't be able to do that. I was lucky enough to be able to get a lift through 2-3 times a week, but some boys will miss out on that. They'll lose good talent about the town.
Yeah, and it was long before the bypass was built as well, so even longer journey. What was your earliest kind of memories of going to Balmoor? Do you remember your sort of first kind of games, or was there an early memory that stands out?
I don't remember exactly what games. I just remember going nearly every week. I'd look forward to that, and then there was a while where I couldn't really go as much because we played on the Saturday with Aberdeen. But then it went back to the Sunday, so I was back to season ticket after that. But I always remember just the big cup games, stuff like that. When you're playing the big teams, the built-in stands, like the standing section behind the goals coming in. I remember the Rangers game as well when they came down to League Two that first game. We drew it, but we really could have won it. It's just a great atmosphere at the place.
To be fair, I think we really should have won it that day.
Yeah, I think so.
We had them played them off the park. I think actually they got a bit of a shock as to how difficult it was going to be for them.
Yeah,
and
so. Even then, went down there and beat them as well. I wasn't down. I only went to Ibrox once to watch us in the cup. I think we got beat 5-0, so that wasn't ideal.
I see. Maybe she's been buying off if we're going again. Had you always been a defender then, or was your early days? I guess you was just learning it. It was just morphed into a defender.
At first, my school, I would probably play midfield, but I wasn't really too much. Just 7-a-side. Then I went to Aberdeen and sort of naturally came back to be a defender. Started off probably more central defender, like 11, 12, and then towards 13, 14, became a right back. That's what I've been since. So I've learned that over the years now.
So is there anybody that you've sort of been watching, or anybody and doesn't need to be Peterhead, it could be anyone, but is there anybody you sort of look at and go, that's the kind of defender I want to be?
It was always Graham Sharp played a lot of years when I was watching, and David Donald as well. I remember that. And then obviously Cammy Carr came on loan, and I've played with him in Dundee for the last 2 years as well. So I've learnt a lot of him. And you just watch their top. It's changing all the time. Fullbacks now, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, and boys like this, just attacking outputs next level. Rather than just being a defender, you're involved the whole game, creating chances and everything.
How much is the Carmaker influence your maybe decision to go to Peterhead, or obviously an easy one for you, but did he have good things to say about his time at Peterhead?
Yeah, he said he really enjoyed it. He still keeps in touch with Jim from now and then. He said he's still been speaking to him. He just recommended it, said go out there, try and get some games under your belt. He went there, kicked on for a season, came back the second season, didn't do near as well, didn't play much, but ended up going back to Dundee, getting the team. Yeah. He said just take the opportunities as you can, do as well as you can.
And now getting a testimonial this season as well.
Yeah.
For the reserve. You mentioned Donald there as well. I think he's one of the sort of most more underrated players. I think he sort of flies under the radar slightly. He was a very, very good player, very consistent player.
Yeah, I remember him quite well. And then obviously Sharp played for a few years as well. But I think even just watching them at that age, trying to take stuff in, obviously didn't know too much about the game at that point, but watching them will still be in good stead, hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's you go there as a fan initially, and then I think you start taking an interest, or especially once you almost nail down a position, if you like, you sort of say, well, how does he deal with this situation? How does he deal with that? And by going to games is the only way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I tried to get out as much as possible as well. And then that couple of years in between, I didn't really get to watch too much, but that's why I was delighted when we went back playing the Sunday, so I could get to the games again.
How did your development go at Aberdeen? Then was you ever sort of near that point of even getting a sniff of the first team, or was you anywhere near that?
Towards my last year there, I was still at school, but a lot of the time I was going in full time with the reserve team, like coming out of school a couple of days a week, playing reserve games and stuff. I never properly trained in a first team session, just when there would be like subs from the game before that would train with the reserves, like 7, 8 boys maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that last year, I played 5 or 6 reserve games. I probably started, so I thought I was doing quite well then. Fully expected probably to be offered a full-time deal, but then they just came back with another. They wanted me to stay at school again and just go in 2-3 times a week. But I was ready to make the jump to full-time football. I thought.
So who makes that decision then? Is that the decision of the youth coaches, or is that the first team manager at the time?
I'm not sure. The youth coach, my 18s coach, was pushing for me to be offered a full-time deal as well as a reserve coach, I think. But I think there was something to do financially, how many boys you could take in, and then above that for first team budget as well. So I wasn't really too sure. I think it was further up the decision was made.
So, but Derek McInnes, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. He liked to let a lot of the younger boys go, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
So when you eventually did leave Aberdeen, then was that a bit of a wrench to leave, or were you ready to then move on, do you think?
I think I just wanted to play full-time football. There were boys offered at Aberdeen, and I thought I was ready to make that jump as well. So after I came in with Peterhead for a while, and then Dundee offered me I think it was 2-week trial at the time because I was going on holiday after. So I went in there, done well, came back from holiday, played a couple of games, and then was offered a full-time deal. And then just took that straight away. I was happy to take that. And then ended up moving down there actually after a couple of months because the travelling was too much to begin with.
Yeah. I should have asked as well. Was there anybody at Aberdeen that you were playing with is now going on to do well.
Connor Barron was in that. He came right through with me. We probably played with each other from when we were 8 or 9. He was with older age group to begin with, but most of them years he was in the team with me. Apart from that, there's the boy Kieran Shanks has just signed for Arbroath. They've played in the Highland League last year. There's another one my age. There's a few boys in and around Highland League level as well, but Connor Barron would be the one that's kicked on the furthest.
Yeah, he seems to be breaking through and doing really well as well.
Yeah.
It's good to see, at least one of the batch, I guess, doing well at that club then.
Yeah.
Because you're almost kind of almost wasting the scouting network if somebody doesn't break through.
I think around about my age as well. Obviously, Calvin Ramsey's a year younger, but he's got his 5 million move, whatever. Massive move. And then above me's Dean Campbell's played a good few games. Terry Taylor went down to England as well. Archie Mayer. Harry Sharp, that's at Dundee now, played a few games as well. So there's boys in and around that. I think overall we've probably produced a good amount of talent from around about my age group anyway.
Yeah, and you still keep in touch with a lot of them.
Yeah, a few of them. Not so much anymore since I moved away and all that, but I speak to them when I see them and still keep in touch, see what they're getting up to.
You mentioned your 2-week trial at Dundee before you signed on, but you mentioned as well, speaking to Jim beforehand, was there any doubts that you were ever going to sign for Dundee and go to Peterhead, or was it always going to be a case that you wanted to give full time another crack?
I wanted to go to full time, but then obviously I wasn't guaranteed anything at Dundee, so I was always had that to come back to Jim. But even at that age, I would have been 16, turning 17, so I don't think I would have been ready to play at Peterhead at all. I think I would have needed a few more years of development. So I went to Dundee, trained just with the 18 squad to begin with, played 18 games. Then after about 7-8 months, probably was when I started training with the first team more and more.
Yeah, I think if you'd signed for Peterhead at 16, I guess game time might have been pretty limited at that time.
Yeah, I presume I would have maybe gone out on loan somewhere, but I wanted to. At that age, I still think I had a lot of developing to do. So training as much as possible is what I needed.
So when you went to Dundee, did you notice any obvious differences between how things worked at Aberdeen and how things worked at Dundee as well?
Initially, it wasn't really too much because when I was at Aberdeen, there wasn't a training ground. Obviously, they've got Cormac now, but at the time we would just report to the stadium, minibus over to wherever we were going to train. In Dundee was pretty similar with that, so that wasn't too different. Still had breakfast and lunch to begin with. Things changed at Dundee after COVID, financially and everything, but to begin with, it was pretty similar. Just a bit of a smaller club than Aberdeen.
In terms of the coaching abilities, were they fairly similar, or was there a marked difference again?
No, fairly similar. I really liked my 18s coach at Dundee, Scott Robertson. He was at Dundee United previously and then came to Dundee, I think it was just before me. But I've learned a lot from him. He's a really good coach, really in detail. Always wants the best for the boys as well.
When you did sign, did they give you almost like a year plan and say, like, this is how we see things going in terms of your development, or was it just sort of take each week or month as it comes?
Well, I had 1 year left at the under-18s level, so the plan was just to come in, play for that under-18s team, and do as well as I could, and push the reserve squad as well. The reserve squad was quite young at Dundee. It had a lot of young boys, even going on the bench for the first team and stuff. So I thought it was a great opportunity. And then played the first 6 months at 18s and played a couple of reserve games as well. And that was when the manager took me in and started training with the first team.
And did you did that give you a bit of a boost then? I think you're on the right path, and if he was bringing you in to play or train with the first team? Yeah,
definitely. I think at that time there would already have been 5 or 6 of us training with the first team nearly every day. So that's good. That I think going into that environment quite young at that age was good for me because I've learned a lot, and that's me been training with them from that age until when I left. So some good players there I played with. learning the men's game more every day in training as well.
Yeah.
So enjoyed it.
Do you find that you pick things up easily? You're a good learner, a good listener.
Yeah, I'd say I take most things in. I think I'm intelligent, and as far as that goes, I think I learn a lot from being told, and even just watching. Like, you just pick up bits off different players, just how they conduct themselves, stuff like that.
When did the sort of discussions of maybe a loan come about?
I think it was after COVID. No, it was before COVID. I hadn't got out on loan. Most of the boys had. I picked up an injury while they were looking for me to go on loan. I was out for 6 weeks. I think it was an ankle injury, and then everything stopped with the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as that started opening up, when I heard League One, League Two were restarting, I was just went in and said, "Look, I've missed out on that before. I want to get out on loan, try and get some games." And it was Scott Robertson, the youth coach, that got in touch with Jim and just said, "Yeah, like, he obviously remembered me from before."
Mm-hmm.
Just said he can come down a couple sessions. We'll have a look at how he's developed since then, and then from there, just signed me on loan to end the season.
It's almost like a job interview or a kind of audition, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
When you say,
so.
"Well, we'll bring him in and we'll see what he can do." So do you think you were did they put you through the ringer quite a bit then, specifically just to see how you got on?
I don't know. I think he obviously knew what I was like a couple of years before, but I think he'd come and watch, I think, a couple of the reserve games as well. So he'd seen how I was developing. But then maybe just wanted to see me in amongst the boys,
Yeah.
see what I could do. But I think it was just that 1-2 sessions. And I think he was always looking to bring me in. Just wanted to see how I was first.
That must be good for you then, knowing that he's been missed out when you signing, a couple of years earlier, but
Yeah.
it's been keeping an eye on you though.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time. I think it was only after I signed on loan that first time that I don't know if it was him or someone else that had mentioned that he'd been. It was a Clyde Stadium. We played Motherwell Reserve Cup, and he'd come and watch. He maybe watch another person as well, but so he was there to keep an eye on me.
So you did sign then after the suspension, which it's a bit of a joke, which to be honest, but we won't talk about that. You had to wait a wee bit for your first start though, a couple of appearances off the bench. Were you aware that you would obviously have to be patient before you got your chance, or were you kind of thinking this is not going how I thought it was going to go?
No, I knew I would come straight into the team. Obviously, midway through a season, even though there was a break, the team was in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd just go in, work hard. Hopefully, an opportunity would come. It was when Conroy got injured. I think that was when the first opportunity came, and Freeman moved over to the left side, and then came and got that first start in these 5 games and thought I had a decent game, and then played a few after that as well.
Kieran Freeman, another, I guess, another example of taking a step back, going on loan, and seeing how well he's doing now. Scotland at 21 international. Just how good was he at that time as well? I know you were maybe briefly with him, but could you see the talent he had?
Yeah, I'd always heard about him as well. Like growing up, how he went down south as well, and then came back up. But he's flying now. He's done really well this season at Dundee United, and then obviously Scotland 21's caps have come from that. He's done really well in them 2 games as well, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think I watched him on TV news. He was one of the standout performers. So he's obviously learned quite a lot when he was at Peterhead. So hopefully that continues. You got I think the final 6 games in a row you started. Was that good to get those 90 minutes under your belt?
Yeah, definitely. I think at that time we started to play really well. Picked up a few really good results. The Falkirk one springs to mind at home.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-0 win. But I think if that season had gone on a bit further, I think we could have pushed up a bit. Obviously, it split, didn't it, before the end, which meant the last couple of games was kind of nothing games. But I think at that time we're playing some really good stuff and could have pushed on a bit further.
Yeah, and you got mentioned your goal as well, doing at East Fife. Thoughts on that? Do you remember much of it?
No, not really. I just remember picking the ball up and played it to Hamish. I don't know how he's managed to get it back to me. I thought it was going to come over the top, but he's just managed to slide it through the boy's legs and then looked up at the goal, he just left half the goal from me. I'm not really sure what he was doing. So I didn't really sink in that I'd scored, because I don't score many goals, but just looking back after, realising I've scored for Peterhead, a great achievement for myself personally.
Yeah, it's because you didn't score many goals. I guess it's one of those things of, well, what do I do now? How do I react? Because I don't really know.
There was no fans either, so it was a bit different as well. So I think it was just a little punch in the air and walk back.
Was maybe I know you're saying how good it was to score for Peterhead, but perhaps maybe if it had been at Balmoor in front of fans for your first one might have been a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what the ideal scenario would have been. So hopefully that'll happen at some point this season. Get one with the fans there. Aberdeen game would be perfect.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get a start first.
Yeah, I know.
So once you'd finished that season there, you obviously went back to Dundee. What was the plans after that then?
I was still waiting for a while I was out of contract then that season, and I was still waiting for a while to sort all that out. I think the boys that had been released had already been told, so I kind of knew off that I would be getting kept. But the contract situation dragged on for a wee while. But they were happy with how I'd done, going out with loan, got a few games done well. So I got another year off the back of that. And then initially they wanted to send me on loan straight away again for the next season, which ended up happening after a while.
Was that something you welcomed again, going another loan spell, or did you think, actually, if you're going to sign me for another year, I should be near enough the first time?
No, I thought I needed to go on loan for another year. Well, 6 months minimum at least, because obviously that first spell at Peterhead was only the last couple of months of the season, which is not enough. So I was wanting to go back to Peterhead. I made that quite clear. And Jim said he'd want to take me back as well. So all three of us ended up going back as well.
Yeah, it must be good for you, having Josh and Lyle back as well. Did that make things a little bit easier for you to integrate yourself back at that team again?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, when I first came back, them two weren't. I can't remember what had happened. They just got recalled, or Lyle wasn't allowed to come back because I don't know. There's something went on. I can't remember what it was. But then the next season, we obviously all got to come, and that makes it easier because players you're used to playing with, your mates around the changing room, so it's good.
Yeah, I think Josh got injured after the first, or 10 minutes after the first game, and then once the suspension happened, I think Dundee brought Lyle back and then wouldn't release him again for the remainder of the season. So so it was obviously good for us to get those two backs, particularly how well Josh had done in that first 6 months. He was just phenomenal, wasn't
he? Yeah, he's kicked on a lot. Obviously, last year he didn't really get to play much because that injury kept him out for most of the year. He wasn't training for it. Must have been near enough half the season. But no, he done really well the first half of the season and earned his way back into that team. And hopefully now he goes on and plays a few more games this season, kicks on again.
But you obviously been training with him. Did you know how good he could be?
Yeah, he's just a powerhouse. Like when he's got space in front of him, he's hard to stop. I think that's the strength of his game. So hopefully with a few more games, he obviously added a few goals when he was playing for Dundee as well. Headers, which I didn't think I'd ever see from him really. But hopefully he manages to cement a place in that team this season.
Yeah, I hope he does well and fully deserves everything he's getting, as you said. The second season started well for you in terms of getting the games. I mean, you were getting a lot of game time initially up until sort of maybe September kind of time. Yeah. Did you think that things were going well for you at that time?
I thought they were going well at points. It was kind of a wee bit inconsistent, probably not as consistent as I had been at the end of the last season. The team was changing quite a bit, and then obviously went to back three at times as well. Played with the wing backs, and I just found myself on the bench a lot of the season. And Josh was doing well right back, so couldn't really complain much because he was giving us a lot going forward. So I just had to sit and try to be patient as long as possible.
Was it a frustrating kind of period for you at that time, and just, or were you sort of watching and being pleased for Josh at the time?
Yeah, it's a weird one because obviously you want to be playing. It's disappointing that you're frustrated to be sitting on the bench, but then you're happy that your mate's doing well, and there's not much you can do about that. Just because you can play in a few other positions as well, but Jim obviously mainly seen him as a right back, whereas Dundee see him as a midfielder. So that was the only kind of frustrating thing where I could thought he could have played in the middle, I could have played right back, but he was flying to right back, so there wasn't much I could argue with.
Yeah, there's no point in changing it, really, is
No,
there?
no.
You can understand that. We mentioned the Dundee B game in the cup as well. Another debacle. What's your thoughts on that? Then obviously you're on loan from Dundee at Peterhead. Will get drawn against Dundee B in the cup. You're essentially playing against a team who could potentially be playing for at that weekend. It just didn't make any sense, really, did it?
No, well, us we didn't know what was going to go on. As soon as we seen the draw, we just thought, right, that's typical. Don't know what will happen here. In a couple of weeks building up to it, we were still asking who are we playing for? Are we just sitting out? I don't know. And then it was just a week before, and they said, no, you're playing for us. And you will be playing for us. Like, we couldn't have just sat out and played for whoever had gone through. They wanted us playing for them. Obviously, Jim didn't agree with that, which is rightly so, because Peterhead had paid wages as well. So I don't know. It's just a strange situation, a strange cup, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird one, and I mean, we had the situation straight away that obviously once Peterhead went through, you three guys were cup tied.
Yeah, and that's what the frustrating thing with us was. I think we'd probably, as a three, would have rather sat it out and then just played for whoever gone through. But then that would have left both teams with no players, because it was a time where we were short on players with Peterhead, and obviously the B team was quite short as well. But no, it wasn't our decision who to play for. We were just told what to do.
Well, hopefully that rule gets changed, because there's a rarity that it happens, I guess, but it throws up a situation that nobody really wants.
It doesn't seem right. I don't think it's probably quite rare that there's three on loan at the same team, I suppose.
Yeah.
In terms of what we were doing, but even still, it wasn't really thought through too well, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if it maybe just been one, then maybe would have made too much of a difference. But three key players, I guess, as well for Peterhead or for Dundee B, would have been a big thing. So how did you prepare for that game then? Because obviously you know that you want to put in 100% effort into it, but you don't want to maybe potentially injure one of your current teammates or your Peterhead teammates at the same time.
Yeah, it's quite a strange one. We obviously just went out to try and win, playing a normal game. Then you're playing against players that you're going to go and train with in a couple of days' time as well. I think the Peterhead team had changed slightly. It was boys that hadn't been playing too much. I remember Darren played and had a really good game. And then Brett obviously came on the outfield as well, so he couldn't really prepare for that, I don't think.
Can you imagine if he scored in that game as well?
Oh, no, I think there was one point he sat up to the edge of the box. I thought he was going to go for it, but I think he just ran out of ideas.
You want to stand and going, shoot.
No, I don't think I would have been able to live that down if he'd scored against us.
As good as the opening period of the last season was, obviously you mentioned how good Josh was, and you were sort of negating as much game time, and obviously then January comes around and Josh gets recalled, and there's a bit of uncertainty with yourself and Lyle, and I think there's a bit of uncertainty really. Even now, we don't really know what the sort of situation was. What was your take on what was happening at that time?
Well, in the couple of months before January, I was still speaking to Jim, and he was saying, just be patient. It looks like Josh will be getting recalled, and then we'll need you. We'll need you to play right back. So I was just sitting, waiting for that. We kind of knew, it wasn't confirmed, but we knew Josh would be heading back with how well he was doing. So me and Lyle just expected to be there after January as well, and hopefully get in the team for the next 6 months. And then I don't really know what happened. One night, just got a phone call off Jim, said there's been disagreement with the clubs. It was nothing to do with football and ability between with me and Lyle or anything. It was just political stuff, and we wouldn't be coming back.
So you guys were sort of caught really in the middle through no fault of your own, really.
Yeah, we were asking questions about what was happening, or if so we could get recalled to go somewhere else, obviously. And then nothing was happening. It was obviously to do with wages or whatever. I'm not really too sure. We didn't ever find out too much, but it was always a frustrating time because Well, Lyle ended up getting the Montrose move because we played them in a reserve game. We played Montrose's first team and he had a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
So they just asked, they didn't think he was available, but they asked the question anyway and realised what the situation had been. But I think even when he went to Montrose, Peterhead were still contributing in some other way financially. So I don't know what went on really.
Mm. And for you, on a personal level, I guess, really frustrating time, difficult time for you, just because I guess all you wanted to do was just play football, and you weren't able to do that.
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult time. Me and Lyle especially, we'd train right through the week as normal, and then obviously with no game at the weekend, we'd do extra runs and stuff like that to make sure we're still getting the same workload as other boys. While asking the question about getting on loan or going back, and then it just got to a point where I knew I was out of contract. It was too late to go anywhere else in League One and League Two, I think, and a few offers in the Highland League. I thought I could go out to Highland League, do well, and Dundee could just look at it and go, well, we should be doing well at that level.
Mm.
So I thought I'll just get in touch with Jim again, and hopefully, even if I wasn't going to play, I'd come back. And if things didn't work out, like end up what I've done this season. So I was still training with them. So just asked Dundee if I could go back there, and they said if he's happy with it, then I can do.
Was that something that had happened before? I think it probably did before James McPake left the club. So maybe was it something to do with him, or was it higher up? Do you think it was getting involved?
I think it was higher up because I think McPake had planned for us to go on a season loan and was happy for us to see out the season there. And then I think it was something, they were pulling us away from training or something, and it was higher up. I don't really know who, but we were left out of all that. We didn't really get told much.
Yeah, and the irony, of course, is the two teams get drawn in the Scottish Cup.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think you probably would have been eligible anyway for
Yeah.
it. But it just added a little bit more kind of spice to it, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was another one like that when after the B team drawing them early on in the season, then them drawing each other again, and then Josh scoring as well.
Yeah,
Just
I
thought it
know.
was something like that, but no, I was just watching in the stands that day.
How was Lyle taking that situation? Then was he fairly the same kind of opinions as you?
Yeah, we were both really frustrated because obviously it was nothing down to us that we couldn't be playing games. But then when he got that Montrose move, he went there, played nearly every week, done really, really well. And he's gone back to Dundee with a point to prove as well. Hopefully he manages to get into that team as well. He's got the ability to do it.
Yeah, he certainly is, and hopefully does well, especially now with at championship level. So he should really be doing well there. Once the change of manager came in, did you think that maybe that was the situation might have changed for you guys?
Yeah, initially I did think maybe it was because we didn't really know what had gone on, but obviously it became apparent that it was higher up than that and not just to do with them because even when that new manager came in, I went and spoke to them, like explained the situation, asked what would be happening, and it kind of just I was asking to be recalled obviously because I thought Peterhead was finished. It just never happened. It never happened, and then I ended up coming back here, but didn't play anyway.
It was kind of out of the blue, really, that you came back. And so,
Yeah,
how did the situation get resolved, or did it get resolved, or did you get to the point where it was a case of, well, you need to be doing something?
I don't. It never really got resolved between the two clubs. I just took it on my own back to go and speak to Jim again, just to explain that I'm out of contract in 2 months. I know even if there's not much hope of me playing here, I'd like to come back, and if the chance does come to play, hopefully do well and prove a point to Dundee. Because I think just sitting there doing nothing for that 2 months wouldn't done me any good. I know I didn't play anyway, but the chance was there, hopefully. So I had to do something instead of just sitting about.
At least you were in amongst, you were there with Jim and Davey, at least training in front of them, and they were, I guess, still be able to catch their eye, still show that you can still do it if you like.
Like we went on it was when we were really struggling. I came back, but then as soon as I came back, went on a good run as well. That last 6 games or so, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously consolidated our place in the league, stayed up.
So all in all, last season for you was a bit of a washout. Then it's one to forget. So in terms of where you're at in your career progression, do you think you've maybe lost a year as a whole, or is it something that you can maybe learn from?
Obviously, there's points you can learn from it throughout, but overall, I thought, it was pretty much a waste of a year. And I said that to Dundee when I got told I was being released. I think I just said this year on a whole has been a waste. And obviously, there's not much I could have done about that at times as well. And I agreed with that, but obviously the decision was made. So,
well, they kind of really disagree with it, kind of.
No.
But hopefully you're there burning your bridges at the same time that you didn't walk out and just in case something happens again.
No.
Okay. So you're back at Peterhead. You've now signed for next season. You mentioned obviously that there was an offer there. You wanted to take time and make the decision. Now that decision's been made, how confident are you that this is going to be a better season for you?
I just think I can show my ability again, get a few games in, consolidate my place in the team. Hopefully, we've obviously got a small squad, so I think a lot of the boys will be needed, especially just now. But I think we can still do well. I think the boys we've got here are a talented group. We just need to add to that now, hopefully, before now in the Aberdeen game.
In terms of the defensive line, there's a lot of competition. Yourself and Robbie competing for right back, but I think you were playing left back as well for some of the friendlies as well. So, as you said, it's going to be a smaller squad, but maybe you're going to have to maybe just adapt slightly in terms of where you can play.
Yeah, Robbie's done it. He's come in and done well. Jim had said to me when he was offering to sign me, he said, I think I can see you playing either side of the defence, right back or left back. And obviously just now we don't have an out-and-out left back. Obviously Andy McDonald can play there. Done it a couple of times last season, but he said there's a real chance to go and play either side of the defence. So hopefully, I don't really mind where I play as long as I'm playing. So hopefully I can get in, keep my place in there.
And Jim seems to have this knack of identifying a position for a player that maybe they didn't necessarily know. Like you said, with Josh obviously coming in as a midfielder, but Jim seen him as a right back or a right wing back, and he's going to do well. So there's obviously something there for Jim that if he's saying to you, look, I can see you as a left back, you must say, well, okay, maybe I can play left back.
Yeah, I think Grant as well. Obviously, when he first came in, everyone's seen him more of an attacking wide man sort of player, but came in and played midfield and done really well. Was all around the midfield, getting on the ball, driving with it. So he obviously knows, he can see how a player would suit a role. So hopefully he sees that wherever it may be for me.
And you, as you said, watching games at Balmoral, what was it like for you playing there for the first time for Peterhead?
The first time I came on it was a bit strange. I'd only ever played in it once when I was in primary school. We got to play a cup final on there, so that was the only time I'd been on it. When it just came on, it was only, I think it was 7 or 8 minutes that first game, and then didn't really think anything of it till afterwards. And then the first game with the fans was different as well. Much felt more normal back when it would usually be like. So hopefully this Aberdeen game will be the most fans I'll play in front of, definitely. When I get on the pitch.
It should be a sellout anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
But do you, obviously because you're from Peterhead, do you get the impression that there's more folk maybe looking out for you or maybe watching how you're getting on because you are playing for Peterhead?
Yeah, hopefully. I think it's always good to see local players. I think the fans appreciate that as well. So get behind me, hopefully. Hopefully I can reward them on the pitch by putting in good performances.
And get all your mates for school and things like that to come to the games as well.
Yeah.
boost the coffers a little bit. It is a it is a talking point, I guess, amongst the Peterhead fans in terms of like local players. You're obviously the one and only at the moment. There is a few for Aberdeen, but there is a. Would you feel maybe that there's a loss of maybe identity in terms of the local players and the club looking for local players coming in?
Yeah, I think there's, especially recent times when I've been watching, there's not been nearly anyone. I think Aaron Norris was probably the most recent one before me. And you can always sense that the fans want the local boys to be there. He always got a good reception when he came on. He didn't play too much, but I think there could be more local. Like you say, if there was a youth setup, maybe it would help a bit more. But as long as I've watched, it's always been a lot of boys travelling from Glasgow end, maybe. But this season seems to be a few more from around about Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get training sessions Thursday nights now up here as well for that boys, rather than only getting the one a weekend.
Yeah, that bus up for up here seems to be getting fuller and fuller in terms
Yeah,
of.
I think we're running out of places now.
You're going to need a bigger bus. That's what
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Or two buses anyway. You mentioned the cup game against Aberdeen. Obviously, that's going to be a huge game. It's the first game of the season. At this present moment in time, both teams are maybe, I wouldn't say struggling, but are going through a transitional period in terms of bringing in players. It's a bit difficult to kind of call, but how do you see the game going?
Obviously, we're massive underdogs, but that can sometimes suit a team. They'll be coming here with all the pressure, especially with it being obviously not a derby, but near enough. The two teams, they've come off the back and not a great season. A lot of pressure on them for the fans, especially. They'll have a few new boys playing and they'll want to get off on the right foot. Whereas us, nothing to lose really. Go out there, play our game, and hopefully get a result.
And you could be marking Ryan Duncan, of course, as well.
Yeah, could be. He looks to have done well so far in pre-season. So hopefully he goes there and kicks on as well because he was brilliant for us.
But after the first game, of course.
Yeah.
You can kick on after that.
Yeah, we'll say that.
In terms of the league, then, again, it's like another tough season ahead. A lot more full-time teams in it. They've also got Kelty coming up as well, Edinburgh, or should I say FC Edinburgh coming up now as well. So, how do you see the season going in terms of preparation? Do you think we can be competing higher than we were, or do you think maybe, anywhere around sort of about sixth or seventh is where we will be?
Obviously, it looks really tough. I think this is probably the toughest it's been in a few years. So the amount of full-time teams, like you look at it, there's probably at least 4 teams looking to go and win the league. I'd say at least. But last season, I think our position didn't reflect how we played. I think we had a lot of good football, just struggled to score goals at times. But I think if we play certain stuff like that, obviously we'll need a few more bodies in. The squad's too small just now. Yeah. I don't see why we couldn't push to be like middle and above that in the league. Obviously difficult with full-time teams because none of them will be accepting any less than that. But I think with the way we played last season, if we keep that up, just add more goals to it, maybe a few silly errors out of the way, then we could push on and have a good year.
For you personally, then, obviously you've signed for a year. Is this obviously going to be a big year for you in terms of where your career can go? So, how much are you looking forward to it? Is it? Is you still get that excitement, that buzz, or are you a little bit kind of nervous about it because you've had such a bad year last year?
I think I'm looking forward to it. I didn't think it would feel much different signing here because I've obviously been here the last couple of seasons, but there is something different about it now that I'm signed officially as a Peterhead player. I'm just really looking forward to it. I mean, I knew if I dropped down to part-time football, I'd want to be playing here. Obviously, the club have supported, close to home, and hopefully get us a good season.
And how do you think you'll adapt to part-time football then? Because obviously you're going to get training every day, but I guess you'll obviously still be hitting the gym or doing whatever you're going to be doing in between times. But do you think it'll take a bit of adjustment for you?
I think it will take a bit of time to adjust, but we'll be training twice a week, and then obviously from the lockdown and COVID, that keeping fit during that time because we were just having to do runs and all that. So I think I can still do that in times where I feel like I need to. But I think it'll take a bit of getting used to, but it shouldn't be too bad. All the boys are fit enough anyway. I think most of them could just transition into full time easy enough. So hopefully it's the same going the other way.
And as you said, we'll look forward to a good season and maybe even getting your shell on the score sheet as well, and
yeah,
being able to celebrate in front of your own fans for the first time.
Hopefully that's the aim for this season. Hopefully get at least one. I'm usually a one goal a season man, so one would do. A few assists in there maybe. Hopefully.
Well, that's I guess if you're going to be playing fullback, it would be, I guess the assist would be the more important thing. But if you chip in with one or two, I think everybody will be quite chuffed with that.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to add goals because obviously Rusty, I think he finished on 15 last season. A good goal return, but it was just a while out with that we struggled for goals. Scott Brown always adds goals, so that's a lot that we've lost from the team. So hopefully, from all areas of the pitch, we'll be able to chip in.
Well, Donny, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. I know we've spoken to you a few times over the last kind of couple of seasons. Always enjoy it, and I think we've made it. We haven't been too quiet about how much we're big fans of you in terms of your football ability, and we've said before just how nice a guy you are, and your family as well. We've met them a few times as well, so we're overjoyed, I guess we should say. I'm chuffed that you've actually come here. It might only be for a season, but hopefully it will be a good season for you and for everybody involved.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like, hopefully have a good year. That could lead to be getting extended as well. It might not just be one season, but hopefully this goes well.
We'll hope so. So once again, thanks very much for coming on. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish you all the success for the coming season, and we'll probably see you at some point again during the season, and hopefully maybe even with like a goal or two as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Cheers.